ICRS. 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 Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Brothers and sisters, I think every one of you who has had anything to do with the marriage process knows exactly how difficult it is, especially for the wali. Yes, if he does his job properly, it is one of the hardest jobs out there, right? Think about it. A brother comes along, the wali sits down with him, he finds him to be okay at that stage. He gets his phone numbers of all the people that knows him, the local masjid, people that he's worked with, and he calls them up, spends a bit of time. Then during that process, something happens, and then they decide, you know what, we're not going to go any further. The next person comes along, same thing, they sit down for a little bit. He likes him, they seem to be okay. He makes the phone calls, blah, blah, blah. Something happens along the way, and so on and so forth. I was going to say infinitum, that it's not as bad as that, but probably some of you think that it is, okay? This process is so difficult, but the reality is that it is not being done like this. Most of the time it stops at the half an hour stage or the 1 hour stage in that meeting, and then he goes back to the sister, his daughter, whatever, and says, okay, yeah, he seems to be okay or whatever. Or some fathers don't even want to take a chance, and they say, oh no, he's not good enough. Not even really checking him out properly. So it works both ways. It's like the job is not being done properly for whatever reason, and it means that there is something lacking, right? I've got an idea, but let's go into a little bit more first. So delving into it a little bit more, we think about, for a revert sister, how much harder it actually is, because she needs to find somebody who is sincerely going to look after her as though he were looking after his own flesh and blood, right? But that's going to be very difficult because she has to approach somebody in the community, maybe her friend, another sister's husband, who that's going to be a tough one getting hold of him as well, right? Or the local imam in the masjid. They have so much other things going on that for them to sincerely do this whole thing of going through the process from the meeting stages to picking up the phone and checking people out, and maybe even to traveling to the area of that person, you are very rarely going to see something like this. And I even put the question, has it ever happened? I doubt it very much, right? So that means that what's happening again is we're stuck at that first initial meeting, and then an opinion is based on that meeting. And we all know about the thing about first impressions and how people actually make an effort to set a first impression, which means that it's even more challenging to be able to really see what that person is like. So we know that we have our criterion. Have you spent time with that person, maybe traveled with him, stayed with him, done business with him? Most of the time, you yourself haven't done that. So unless you can actually do it, you have to trust the opinion of someone who has done that. And again, we have this whole issue with if it's a friend of a brother, it's very difficult for him to be actually really and truly honest about this person's character, because they're mates. They get on really well. So it's like, yeah, he's a good brother. And plus, he wants to see his mate getting married off. So it's like, he knows that maybe there are some issues there, but it's like, yeah, but he's a good brother. He's a really good brother. He means well. It's very dangerous, right? It's very, very dangerous. So we need something, I believe, that is going to help with this whole situation, right? And it's something which it may be in a pipeline one day, and I really hope that it will be. Let me tell you what's in my mind, yeah? We need a body, a group. It doesn't matter whether it's a company or whether it's a charitable organization, but it's there solely for the purpose of checking out the credentials of individuals that have been presented to them regarding marriage, right? So this body, this group, this company, whatever it is, it has to be accredited. It's got to be accredited by maybe some of the major masajid around the UK or even around the world, right? Or even from some of the very esteemed shayukh that we have in the UK today, people like Sheikh Haytham al-Haddad and so on, who are trusted, they're well experienced in the whole marriage process as well, so that they can actually say, okay, these group of brothers that are doing this service, I believe that they'll do a good job, and I'll also keep an eye on them as well, inshallah. This is what would be really good. So what do? A father, he comes to them and says, this brother, Abdullah, he has come to marry my daughter. This is his details. How much do you charge? Because obviously it ain't going to be free. You pay the money, and then they go off and say, okay, we'll get back to you with a report. They go off and they either travel to the area, they speak to the local masjid, they speak to maybe they go to where he works, they speak to his family members, they speak to his friends, they do a thorough job, a thorough report, how many times they've been married before, and then they come back and they present it and they say, look, although this certificate is not enough for you to say to you, you should definitely marry him based on this, this is a complete, thorough, report of this individual. It's something that us as walis could never do, especially not every single brother that comes along. There you go, there's your report. Bang, the father, he then looks at it and says, okay, alhamdulillah, it seems quite good, that's that, okay? This will be even more beneficial for revert sisters who don't have someone there who looking after them as if it's their own flesh and blood. So then whoever is representing them, that wali, I don't know where the money's going to come from. This is something that we have to, it's not my problem because it's not my service, right? But the money has to be found, the money's there, and then that service goes out and they do the same thing. That's one side of it, put it to one side. The other side is, now, brother Ahmed or Abdullah, whatever, Fulan, he has money, he wants to get married, he goes to this same service and says, I want to get married and I'd like to get a certificate from you, okay? So he pays that money and they do the same thing. They check him out thoroughly and then they can say, okay, right, here's a report based on you. You can take that around or you can get them to come and contact us and we can give them our findings. So that's it, and it's only valid for a very short period of time. I don't know how long it is going to be. So now when a family goes to them, or actually no, when Ahmed or Fulan, he goes to family, he can just say, look, I have been accredited or I've been registered or I've got a certificate, whatever, from this organization, and it should make that person feel a little bit more confident in going ahead with him. So you understand, there'll be a lot of teething problems initially, but we need something like this, especially in the UK. In any Muslim country, we probably don't need something like that. But anywhere where there are, a vast majority of reverts and stuff like that, we need something like this, yeah? So whether it'll take 5 years or 10 years, it's something that I want to see, and I'm sure you'd like to see it as well. Now, I don't think I've missed anything out, but I think you got the gist of it. And what about the name of it? Well, as you heard in the beginning, ICRS, the Islamic Character Research Service, right? It's something which one day I'd hope to see very, very much. I wish I could do it myself. I don't have the money, I don't have the time, but someone out there does. And when you do, make sure you remember me, because obviously this is where you heard it first, yeah? So inshallah, brothers and sisters, go out there, get talking about it. Leave comments below. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know who's got some money that I can maybe pressure them as well to make sure they do it. There's a lot of barakah in this as well. I'm sure you know this, yeah? If you think it's a stupid idea, let me know as well. And let me know why, because then it will shut me up. But, I'm not asking you for money for this. I'm just putting an idea out there to start a conversation going, yeah? So that's it, inshallah. Speak to you soon in the next episode of Reality Bites. Take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Oh, and don't forget my cut.